Welcome, dear listener. My name is John. I want to tell you a story. It is a story about a time when I was selfish. At that time, I didn't know I was selfish. I couldn't see it. My heart was broken, and my pain felt like the only pain in the world. But I was wrong. Other hearts were broken too. This story is about my daughter Grace, and it is also about what grief can do to us, how it can blind us, and how love can open our eyes again. 2 years ago, my wife Laura died. She was the love of my life. She completed me. She was the sun in my sky. And when she died, the sun went away. My world became dark and cold. Every morning felt gray. Every night felt endless. I felt empty inside. A deep sadness came over me. It was heavy, like a wet blanket that covered my soul. I couldn't see clearly. I couldn't breathe freely. It felt as if my life had stopped. I stopped caring about my job. I didn't try anymore. I stopped talking to my friends. I didn't clean the house. I just sat in my chair, staring at the same wall, lost in silence. I thought only of Laura. I looked at her pictures again and again. I remembered her laugh, her smile, the sound of her footsteps, the way she said my name. Her memory hurt me, but it also healed me at the same time. It was a strange kind of pain, the kind that reminds you how deeply you once loved. My world became a small, quiet place, full only of my own sadness. But I wasn't alone. I had a daughter. Our daughter, Grace. She was only 7 years old when her mother died. Still so small, still needing love, comfort, and warmth. I knew she was sad too, but I didn't really see her. I looked at her, but I didn't see her pain. My own pain was too big. It covered everything. Yes, my wife had died, but in my selfish sadness, I didn't see that I was losing my daughter too. Grace became very quiet after Laura's death. Her silence should have been a warning. She had always been a bright, laughing child. She loved to sing. She loved to dance. Her laughter used to fill the house. But after Laura died, that laughter disappeared. She moved through the house like a little ghost. She played quietly in her room. She did her homework without a word. She never complained. She hid her pain deep inside. And I, in my blindness, thought her silence was a good thing. I thought she was strong. I thought, she's handling this so well. I even felt relieved. I thought, at least I only have to carry my own sadness. But I was wrong. So very wrong. The wake-up call came one Tuesday afternoon. The phone rang. It was Grace's teacher, Mrs. Wilson. Her voice was soft but serious. "Mr. John," she said, "I need to talk to you about Grace." I felt nervous. I asked, "Is everything okay?" There was silence for a moment. Then she said, "No, Grace is not okay. She is very sad." Her words cut through me like a knife. She told me Grace didn't talk much at school. She didn't play with the other children. She sat alone during lunch. She just stared out the window with empty eyes. My heart began to sink, but I still didn't understand. Then Mrs. Wilson told me about Grace's drawings. She said Grace loves to draw. Drawing is her voice. Before, Grace's pictures were full of color. Bright yellow suns, green trees, blue skies, smiling faces. But not anymore. Now her drawings were dark. She used only black and gray. The colors were gone. She drew our family, but there was an empty space, the space where her mother used to be. She drew herself small and lonely in a big, dark house. Her world was colorless. Her sadness was silent but deep. The teacher's words hit me hard. It felt like the air left my chest. All this time I thought she was okay, but she wasn't. She was drowning, and I hadn't even seen it. When I hung up the phone, my hands were shaking. I sat in my chair for a long time, and for the first time in 2 years, I didn't think about my own pain. I thought about hers. I felt shame. I felt guilt. I felt like I had failed her. I was her father. It was my job to protect her, to hold her, to help her heal. But I hadn't done that. I had been so lost in my own grief that I had forgotten hers. That evening I went to her room. She was sleeping. I looked at her small, peaceful face. She looked fragile, too fragile. There were tear marks on her cheeks. She had cried herself to sleep. I felt like a monster. I sat on the floor beside her bed and I cried. For my wife. But mostly for my daughter. I cried because I had failed her. Beside her bed, I saw her school bag. I opened it and found her drawing book. I looked at the pages. Each one was dark. Each one told a story of pain. A little girl in a world without color. A little girl who felt alone. That night, I made a promise. A promise to my sleeping daughter. A promise to my wife's memory. I whispered, "I'm sorry. I will do better. I will not lose you, too." The next morning, I began to change. It was not easy, but I had to try. My sadness was still there, but it was no longer the only thing in my world. My daughter became my reason to wake up. She became my light. I went to her room. She was still in bed. I sat beside her, gently touched her hand and said, "Good morning, Grace." She opened her eyes, surprised. I hugged her tightly and whispered, "I love you." It had been so long since I said those words. She didn't say anything. She just hugged me back. That evening, I asked her, "What was Mom's favorite meal?" She thought for a moment and smiled softly. "Spaghetti," she said. Her eyes lit up when she said it. So, we cooked spaghetti together. We made a mess in the kitchen. We spilled sauce, laughed a little, and for the first time in a long time, I heard my daughter's real laugh. That laugh healed something inside me. From that day on, we started new habits. Every night after dinner, we took out an old photo album. We looked at pictures of Laura. The house began to feel alive again. I told Grace stories, funny ones, happy ones, stories about how I met her mother, about our wedding day, about the silly things we did. At first, Grace just listened. Then slowly she began to share her own memories. She said, "I remember when Mom and I baked a cake for your birthday. We put too much salt in it." We both laughed. And in that laughter, I could feel Laura's spirit smiling somewhere near. We began to bring Laura's memory back, not as a ghost of sadness, but as a light of love. We planted her favorite yellow roses in the garden. We played her favorite music in the evenings. We talked about her every day, and slowly, color returned to our lives. One morning, I saw something new on the refrigerator. It was one of Grace's drawings. This time it was full of color. Bright yellow, soft blue, happy green. It was a picture of me and her, standing hand in hand in the garden under a big shining sun, and I realized the sun had returned. My heart filled with love and with hope. I had learned the hardest lesson of my life. Pain can make us selfish. Grief can make us blind. But love opens our eyes again. When you are hurting, remember this. The people you love are hurting too. Don't close your eyes to their pain. Healing does not happen alone. It happens together. It happens when we share our sadness, when we carry it side by side. That is true healing. Thank you for listening. And if this story touched your heart, please take a moment to share it, so maybe someone else can heal too.